This video is about Isis protects temple treasures but Thieves escape. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the age when gods walked among mortals, Egypt thrived under the watchful eyes of divine beings. Among these deities, Isis stood supreme, known as the goddess of magic, wisdom, and protection. Her beauty was unparalleled, her compassion boundless, and her power unmatched. She ruled the sacred temple of Philae, a sanctuary adorned with treasures that gleamed like stars against the night sky. The air was thick with incense and the murmurs of worshippers when a dark ermine swept over the temple. In the heart of the night, shadows whispered like serpent's tongues, carrying with them the name of treachery. A band of thieves, notorious across the land, conspired to steal the sacred artifacts, the treasures of the gods. Their leader, a cunning rogue named Kem, had heard tales of the treasures that could grant immeasurable power and fortune. As the moon hung low, casting a silvery glow over the Nile, Kem gathered his crew, each a master of deception. There was Ammon, the silent archer with eyes like burning coal, Tharo, the swift-footed thief whose agility defied human limits, and Rahadab, the brute strength of the group, armed with a heart as cold as stone. Together, they forged a pact cloaked in greed and ambition. Little did they know, the very heartbeat of the temple was aware of their intentions. Isis, with her divine awareness, sensed the impending doom. She lingered in the sacred chambers, her heart heavy with the weight of prophecy. Should these thieves breach the sanctum, the balance of the world will tip into chaos, she murmured, her voice like a gentle breeze. In the stillness of the night, shadows began to creep toward the temple, their intentions as dark as the depths of a stormy sea. Kem and his crew scaled the walls with the ease of serpents, their hearts thrumming with anticipation. They reached the treasure chamber, a room that glimmered with gold and jewels, each piece holding a story of old, a fragment of the divine. But as the thieves beheld the treasures, a flicker of doubt crossed Kem's face. "Is it worth the wrath of a goddess?" he whispered, glancing at his companions. They stood entranced by the shimmering jewels, the seductive power drawing them closer. "Power waits for no one," Ammon hissed, his bowstring taut, ready for action. "Let us claim what is ours and be legends." Sarah's fingers danced over the golden artifacts, her heart racing. Legends and curses alike, Kem, we must be swift. Before they could reach for the treasures, the air shifted. A gust of wind swept through the chamber, extinguishing the flickering torches. The room plunged into darkness, and the whispers of the temple echoed like a thunderclap. Isis appeared, her figure radiant, cloaked in shimmering robes that caught the glint of the treasures. "Foolish mortals," she declared, her voice reverberating through the walls. "You dare enter my sanctum with greed in your hearts, you will face the consequences of your actions." The thieves recoiled, fear etched on their faces, but Kem, gripped by desperation, drew a dagger. "We will not be cowed by goddess, we seek riches beyond measure." With a flick of her wrist, Isis conjured a storm of magic that crackled through the air. The walls of the temple trembled as she unleashed her fury, summoning the spirits of the guardians, monstrous creatures born of stone and shadow towering in their wrath. "Grunt!" Kem shouted, panic breaking his resolve. The thieves scattered as the guardians descended upon them, their roars shaking the very ground. Ammon, quick as a whip, turned his bow toward the advancing beasts. He loosed an arrow, striking one in its heart of stone, but the creature merely crumbled and reformed. "Your arrows are useless," Sarah cried, her feet barely keeping pace with the chaos. She vaulted over fallen debris, her heart racing as she grabbed a handful of jewels. "If we can just get out of there." "Enough," Tem bellowed, his voice slicing through the tumult. "We need to regroup, we can't let her stop us." But the goddess was relentless, her eyes blazing with righteous fury. With a wave of her hand, she summoned a gust of wind that swept through the chamber, slamming Rahot up against the wall. The brute fell, dazed, as the rest of the thieves struggled to evade the guardians. "Flee, you fools," Isis warned, a voice echoing like thunder. "You may escape, but know that the wrath of the gods does not forget." In the midst of chaos, Kem seized the golden amulet adorned with the sacred symbol of the Eye of Horus. "This will give us power, we can leave it behind," he shouted, defiance burning bright in his chest. With a sudden surge of energy, the guardians turned their focus on Kem, their massive forms encircling him. Ammon and Zara fought their way back, determined to save their leader. "Kem, let it go, we need to survive," Ammon yelled, firing arrows to distract the looming beasts. But Kem, blinded by greed, held the amulet high. "I will not let it slip through my fingers," he bellowed, charging at the nearest guardian. In his heart, he felt the flicker of divine strength, but the guardian responded with a swing of its massive stone arm. "Fool!" Isis cried, her voice tinged with sorrow. You cannot wield what is not yours. The gods will not grant you power out of greed. The impact of the Guardian's blow sent Kem sprawling, the amulet slipping from his grasp. Time seemed to slow as he watched it roll away, shimmering like a fallen star. In that moment, the earth shook with anger, the temple quaking beneath the weight of fate. Sarah dove for the amulet, her instincts honed by necessity. She snatched it just before the Guardianess crushed it into the ground, and in that instant the tide began to turn. With the amulet in hand, she felt a surge of energy coursing through her veins. "We must go," she shouted, rallying the thieves. "With this, we can return to reclaim our lives." But their path was blocked, and the Guardians advanced with relentless fury. Rahotep, having regained his senses, roared with determination. "We can't let her win, fight!" The thieves fought like cornered animals, their desperation fueling their strength against the Guardian's onslaught. Amon's arrows found their mark, while Zara utilized her newfound energy to weave through the monsters, striking wherever she could. But Kem's defiance bubbled into rage, compelling him to rally his companions. "Together, we can conquer," he declared, his voice a battle cry. "We will not let fear bind us." But as they pressed forward, the temple shook violently and the walls began to close in. The light of the treasures flickered ominously, and Isis's voice echoed in their minds, warning them of the consequences of their choices. "You forsake your honor for greed, and you will pay dearly." With the stakes rising, the thieves fought with all their might, but doubt crept into their hearts. One by one, the Guardians fell, yet at a great cost. The shimmering treasures that once filled them with desire now felt like a curse, each victory tainted by the knowledge that they had disturbed the balance of the divine. In a moment of desperation, Kem lunged at Zara, attempting to wrest the amulet from her grasp. "It is ours, don't you see? We can't let this slip away." Zara, her eyes wide with betrayal, dodged his grasp. "You've lost your way, Kem. This isn't who we are." Isis watched from the shadows, her heart aching for the souls before her. They were lost, caught in a web of their own making. "Make your choice, mortals," she whispered into the wind. "Honor or curse." The temple trembled, as though aware of their turmoil. With the culmination of their choices hanging in the balance, the thieves faced the consequences of their greed. Would they succumb to the darkness, or find a way to reclaim their honor in the face of divine wrath? As the first light of dawn broke over the Nile, illuminating the temple with golden hues, the battle raged on, the fate of the thieves caught in the crossfire of divine judgment. The echoes of their choices rippled through time, marking the beginning of a legend fraught with destiny, betrayal, and the hope for redemption. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. The dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sacred temple of Phila in hues of gold and crimson. The serene river Nile whispered secrets of old to the rhythmic pulse of the world, yet within the stone walls, chaos reigned. The Guardians, born of sacred earth, loomed like phantoms of dread, their stone limbs moving with a terrifying grace as they sought vengeance against the thieves who dared challenge the divine. Isis stood at the heart of the storm, her heart burdened with compassion and resolve. "You are blind to your ruin," she called out, her voice echoing in the chamber like the tolling of a funeral bell. "Your greed will be your undoing." Kem, fevered with defiance, rallied his companions. "We are not mere mortals, we are the masters of our fate." He charged at the nearest Guardian, the weight of the world on his shoulders. The amulet glistened in Zara's grasp, pulsing with a strange energy, a gift and a curse intertwined. With a sudden leap, Rahotep barreled into the fray, his massive form crashing into a Guardian like a thunderbolt. The collision sent ripples through the air, causing the temple to tremble further, the swirling like the spirits of the fallen. "We can't allow fear to consume us," he roared, fist swinging with the desperation of a cornered beast. Ammon, ever the strategist, took cover behind a column, his eyes narrowed. With sharp precision, he loosed arrows at the stone beasts, targeting their joints to delay their advance. "Kem, we must retreat. The longer we remain, the more we invite destruction." But Kem's eyes glinted with mad ambition. "There is power here, Ammon, with the eye of Horus. We could become legends, we could rise above the gods." Sarah, her heart racing, felt the amulet as energy surged through her. It whispered promises of speed, strength, and invincibility. "Kem, listen to reason," she implored, her voice rising over the cacophony. "This isn't the path we chose." "Foolish girl," he snapped, his voice sharp as a blade. "You don't understand. This is our destiny." As the last word left his lips, one of the Guardians lunged towards him. Kem barely dodged, rolling across the temple floor, but the Guardian's stone fist crashed down, mere inches from him, sending shards of stone exploding into the air. Dust filled Kem's lungs as he scrambled to his feet, the growls of the Guardians echoing like thunder in his ears. In that instant, the divine energy of the amulet began to change within Zara's grasp. It spoke of power, yes, but also of responsibility, of the weight that came with wielding such might. "We must leave," she yelled, urgency filling her voice. "We can't win this battle, the temple is collapsing around us." Thieves fought hard, but the guardians were relentless, an unyielding storm of stone and magic. With a swift movement, one guardian caught Amon's arrow, crumbling it to dust with a single squeeze of its colossal fingers. The archer's face fell, realization dawning. Their weapons were powerless against the very embodiment of the goddess's wrath. "Zara, combine your strength with the amulet," Rahotep shouted, ducking under a swinging arm. "Use it to create a diversion." Zara nodded, her heart pounding. "Stay together, on my mark." She felt the amulet's power coursing through her like wildfire, urging her to embrace its potential. The guardians bore down upon them, a tide of stone and fury, their eyes glowing like embers in the dark. "Now!" Zara cried, thrusting the amulet high above her head. A blinding light erupted from the emblem, casting the chamber in a surreal glow. The guardians halted, momentarily blinded, their roars faltering into confused growls. "What?" Kim yelled, seizing the moment of distraction. The thieves dashed through the chaos, desperation lending them speed. But as they reached the entrance, a guardian recovered, its eyes narrowing on Kim, who had lingered too long. "No!" Zara screamed, instinctively reaching for him, but the guardian's stone fist shot forth like a lightning strike. With a surge of adrenaline, Kim dove sideways, narrowly dodging the crushing blow. He felt the rush of air as it passed just above him, and in that perilous instant, fear and admiration battled within Zara's heart for Kim, the man who would risk everything for power. "Together!" Amon shouted, beckoning them toward the exit. The thieves emerged into the temple's open expanse, the weight of the sky above them heavy with dread. The once sacred grounds were now marred by the echoes of the guardians pouring from the shadows like dark tides. Kim skidded to a halt, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "We can't let this end like this, we have to claim the amulet." "Enough!" Zara barked, clutching it tightly against her chest. "You've lost sight of who we are, Kim, this isn't the way." The ground shook, the temple's foundations threatening to crumble as the guardians pursued them. Rahotep turned, his face grim. "We must split up, it is our best chance." "What?" Kim shouted, desperation clawing at his heart. "We can't abandon each other, we will find a way." But the guardians roared, their monstrous forms advancing, and Zara felt the amulet's energy pulsate, resonating with her own growing resolve. She stepped forward, a fire ignited in her soul. "We can redeem ourselves." With a fierce determination, she raised the amulet high once more. "By the power of the Eye of Horus, I invoke the strength of the ancients." The air crackled around her as a blinding light cascaded from the amulet, weaving through the guardians, slowing their advance. "Together!" Amon shouted, joining her side, his eyes ablaze with courage. "For honor, for redemption." In unison, the thieves united, drawing from the energy of the amulet. They formed a circle, the light of the eye swelling around them like a protective aura. The guardians hesitated, confusion shadowing their faces. It was a moment of clarity. They could either fight and perish or embrace their second chance. "Fight for each other!" Kim cried, his voice filled with both command and sorrow. "We are not just thieves, we are brothers and sisters in arms." In that moment, a bond forged in the fires of desperation ignited within them. They pressed forward together, harnessing the power of the amulet to create a barrier against the guardians. The once unstoppable beasts began to falter, their forms shimmering under the intensity of the light. But destiny is a fickle mistress. A sudden tremor split the ground beneath them as the temple's foundation, ravaged by their greed, began to collapse. "We must go, now!" Zara shouted, the urgency of the moment flooding her senses. With every ounce of strength, they broke through the ranks of the guardians, sprinting toward the exit. The temple's walls groaned in protest, stones crumbling as the gods looked down in judgment, their anger palpable. As they burst into the open air, the sun blazed in the sky, casting golden rays over the Nile like a blessing. They turned to see the temple behind them tremble, light cascading from its depths, a final farewell to the treasures that have once sparkled with divine promise. "We are alive." Rahotep gasped, astonishment mingling with disbelief. But Kem, his heart heavy, turned back to the temple. "The treasures, we've lost everything." "Ugh." Zara countered, gripping the amulet tightly. "We have each other, this is our second chance. The gods may have punished us, but we can choose to honor the lessons learned." Suddenly, the skies darkened and a voice boomed across the land. Mortals, you have tested the limits of fate. Your greed has brought ruin, but your unity may yet save you. It was Isis, the air crackling with her divine presence. With a wave of her hand, the temple began to settle, its form shifting, the guardians retreating back into the shadows of stone. You have faced the abyss and emerged with a chance for renewal, but remember, the path is fraught with peril, and your honor must guide you. As the last remnants of chaos faded, Kem fell to his knees, overwhelmed by the weight of what had transpired. "What have we done?" he whispered, regret filling his heart. Zara approached him, kneeling beside him. "We have a choice, Kem, to redeem ourselves and nurture our bonds, or to become lost in the shadows of our past." Ammon stood tall, glancing at the horizon. "We are not defined by our mistakes, but by how we rise from them. Together, we will forge a new path." With renewed determination, the group rose, their hearts ignited by purpose. The amulet vibrated gently in Zara's hand, a reminder of the power they held, not just the power to conquer, but the power to protect, to cherish, and to... As the last echoes of Isis's voice faded into the shimmering dawn, the thieves stood at the edge of the temple's ruins, hearts racing like wild stallions. The air was thick with the scent of wet earth and the lingering fragrance of incense, a reminder of the sacred ground they had desecrated. The radiant sun cast golden rays upon their faces, illuminating the choices laid before them, a path of honor or one of despair. Kem rose to his feet, his chest heaving with the weight of anguish. "What have we done?" he whispered, anguish etched into every line of his face. "We sought power, and in return, we awakened divine wrath. What hope do we have after such treachery?" Zara, still clutching the amulet, turned to him, her gaze unwavering. "Hope lies within us, Kem. We have a chance to right our fate. We faced the guardians and survived. We can learn from this." Ammon, with a voice of reason, stepped forward. "We must not linger in despair. The gods have spared us. Let us honor the gift. The power of the amulet can be used for good if we choose wisely." Rahotep, his massive form still shaken from the battle, nodded gravely. "But the journey ahead will not be easy. We must confront our past and the consequences of our choices. Our strength lies in unity." With a newfound resolve, the band of thieves turned from the ruins, choosing to embrace the unknown. They ventured into the wilderness, the now glimmering beside them as they walked. Each step felt heavy, a reminder of the treasures left behind, but also a promise of redemption. In the distance, mountains loomed, their peaks caressed by wisps of clouds. Rumors spoke of a mystical oracle residing atop the highest peak, a being who could reveal truths hidden in shadows of fate. "The oracle can guide us," Zara said, her voice weaving determination into the fabric of their quest. "She may hold the key to reclaiming our honor." "Then let us climb those mountains," Kem declared, his spirit reigniting. "Let us seek wisdom and emerge not just as thieves, but as heroes in our own right." The journey was arduous and fraught with challenges. The path twisted like a serpent, steep cliffs and treacherous ravines testing their perseverance. They encountered wild beasts, ferocious lions, cunning jackals, and venomous snakes, all remnants of a world that thrived in the embrace of nature. Yet, with each encounter, they learned to trust their instincts, utilizing the strength of their bonds to overcome every obstacle. One fateful night, they found shelter beneath an ancient olive tree, its twisted roots offering respite. Exhausted, they gathered around a fire, the flames dancing like spirits in the night. As the stars twinkled above, Zara took a deep breath, her heart heavy with the weight of their recent past. "What will become of us?" she asked, staring into the flickering flames. "Can we truly find redemption?" "Kem, you must forgive yourself," Ammon said softly, looking into the depths of Kem's remorseful eyes. "We followed your lead, but we chose to follow our own greed. Each of us has a part to play in our past. Accepting it is the first step toward moving forward." Kem's expression darkened, the shadows of his choices clawing at his heart. "I led us into darkness, and now I fear I'll lead us into more peril. I cannot bear the thought of losing you all." Rahotep leaned forward, his voice low and steady. "Everyone has made mistakes. What defines us is not the fall, but how we rise after. We must look to the future with open hearts and seek to honor the lessons learned." With encouragement from his companions, Ken took a moment to reflect. Fires of their past had burned brightly, but perhaps they could forge a new flame together, one that illuminated the path ahead. As dawn broke, the group continued their ascent. The air grew thinner, and the terrain became increasingly jagged. They were nearing the summit when a storm, fierce and unforgiving, descended upon them. Dark clouds swallowed the sun, and the wind howled like a banshee, threatening to tear them apart. "Hold fast," Kim shouted, battling against the wind that lashed at their faces. "We must reach the oracle. She's our only hope." Together, they pressed on, their resolve unyielding. Bolts of lightning crackled overhead, illuminating the path ahead in flashes of brilliance. But just as they neared the peak, a monstrous storm guardian emerged from the shadows, a creature cloaked in thunder and rage, its eyes glowing with malevolence. "Who dares disturb the sacred mountain?" it roared, the ground trembling beneath its feet. "Turn back, or face my wrath." Cam, emboldened by the bond he shared with his companions, stepped forward. "We seek wisdom, not conflict. We wish to redeem ourselves in the eyes of the gods." The guardian's laughter rumbled like thunder. "Wisdom is won through trials, mortal. If you wish to pass, you must prove your worth. Then let us face your trial." Zara shouted, her voice fierce with determination. "We will show you that we are more than just thieves." The guardian grinned, its teeth sharp as daggers. "Very well, you shall face the trial of shadows." With a wave of his hand, the storm coalesced into shadows that lunged at the thieves, each one manifesting their deepest fears and regrets, twisted forms of their past sins. Ammon found himself face to face with his insecurities. The shadows took the shape of fallen comrades, voices echoing their disappointment. "You abandoned us," they cried, their eyes filled with betrayal. "That?" Ammon shouted, shaking his head. "I did everything I could. I will not succumb to despair." Rahotep, caught in a whirlwind of shadows, faced his own demons, the pain of his rage, the countless battles fought in anger, and the destruction that followed. "I am not a monster," he roared, fighting against the manifestations of his past. "I will protect those I love." Kim battled against the visions of greed that once consumed him, the shadowed figure of his former self whispering temptations. "You can have it all, Kim, power, riches, and glory." But he stood resolute. "No, I am not that man anymore. I choose honor over greed." Zara confronted her own insecurities, the shadow reflecting the doubt that had clouded her heart. "You will fail, Zara. You were never meant for greatness." With fierce determination, she answered, "No, I will rise. I will embrace my destiny." As each member of the group met their shadows, a surge of unity washed over them. They found strength in their bonds, rising together against the trials laid before them. The shadows began to weaken, dissolving into the light of their collective resolve. Together, they cried, a chorus of voices melding into one. The Storm Guardian watched in awe as the shadows disintegrated, the light of their unity pushing back the darkness that had sought to consume them. With a roar of defeat, the Guardians stepped aside. "You have proven yourselves worthy, brave mortals. The Oracle awaits." At the summit, a shimmering figure emerged, cloaked in ethereal light, the Oracle, a being of wisdom and grace, whose presence filled the air with an ancient energy. "You have faced your demons and emerged victorious," she intoned, her voice like the whisper of the wind. "What is it you seek?" Kim stepped forward, his heart racing. "We seek redemption, Oracle. We wish to reclaim our honor and protect those we love." The Oracle's gaze pierced through him, seeing not just the man, but the shadows that had tried to bury him. "Redemption is not given, it is earned. Each of you has the power to change, but know that the path ahead is fraught with challenges that will test your unity." Zara nodded, clutching the amulet tightly. "We will face whatever comes together." The Oracle smiled, a warmth radiating from her presence. "Then embrace your journey, for it is only through trials and tribulations that true strength is forged." She extended her hand, revealing a vision of their future, a tapestry woven with threads of light and shadow, honor and sacrifice. "Your path will be dangerous, for the gods watch closely," she warned, her voice echoing in their hearts. "But if you choose love over greed, loyalty over betrayal, you will rise to become legend." As the vision faded, the Oracle vanished, leaving the thieves standing at the peak, hearts ignited with purpose. They had faced the storm and emerged stronger, bound by a promise to embrace the power within them. Gam turned to his companions, determination blazing in his eyes. "We will honor the lessons learned. Together, we will reclaim our honor and protect those we hold dear." With newfound purpose, they descended the mountain, ready to face whatever awaited them. The sun cast its golden rays upon them, a promise of a brighter future, a legend in the making, one forged not only in the fires of ambition but in the unity of hearts. Thus, the tale of Kem, Zara, Aman, and Rahotep began a journey woven into the fabric of destiny, a testament to. As the thieves descended from the heights of the mountain, the sun hung low in the sky, draping the world in a golden hue. The winds whispered tales of old, and the distant roar of the Nile echoed like a heartbeat, steady and unwavering. Each step they took echoed not just with the weight of their feet, but the load of their shared past, a tapestry of greed, betrayal, and now a flicker of hope ignited by their recent trials. The landscape shifted before them, revealing valleys cloaked in lush greenery, where the scent of herbs and flowers mingled with the earthy aroma of the soil. But beneath the beauty lay an undercurrent of danger, for they had not yet escaped the wrath of the gods. Kim felt the amulet's warmth pulsing against his chest, a constant reminder of the power they had nearly succumbed to, a gift that could just as easily become a curse. What do we do now? Amon asked, gazing at the horizon where the sun kissed the sands. The oracle warned us, the gods are watching. We find the next step of our journey, Zara replied, her voice firm, yet tinged with uncertainty. She said our path would be dangerous, but we can't turn back. We must honor our promise. Rahotep, his massive frame silhouetted against the vibrant colors of the sky, nodded. We all need allies. We cannot face the trials ahead alone. The gods will unleash their fury if we tread lightly. Kim clenched his fists, the determination rising within him like a tide. But then we seek the warriors of the desert, the ones who have an alliance with the gods. They will know of our treachery and may forgive us if we can prove our worth. As they approached the edge of the valley, they heard the thunderous sound of hooves pounding the earth. A cloud of dust billowed in the distance, and soon a group of fierce warriors emerged, their eyes sharp and suspicious. Dressed in leather and adorned with symbols of the sun god Ra, they radiated power and pride. "Stand your ground," shouted the leader, a woman with wild hair crowned by a golden circlet. "Who dares tread upon our sacred land?" The thieves halted, each heart racing, fear and hope mingling in their chests. Kim stepped forward, his voice strong yet respectful. "We are Kem, Sara, Ammon, and Rahotep. We seek counsel of the desert warriors. We have faced the wrath of the gods and seek to reclaim our honor." The warrior narrowed her eyes, assessing them with a fierce intensity. "Honor is not freely given. It is earned through trials and blood. You may speak your truth, but know that the desert does not suffer fools easily." "Then let us prove ourselves," Kem replied, fire in his gaze. "If you deem us unworthy, we will accept our fate." The warrior studied him for a long moment before nodding, her expression shifting to one of intrigue. "Very well, then, you will face the trial of the desert, survive the creatures of the sands and return to me. Only then will I consider your plea for aid." As Kem and his companions prepared for the trial, a sense of dread settled in their hearts. The desert was a realm of unyielding hardship, where survival depended on cunning and strength. They ventured into the golden dunes, the sun blazing above them, turning the world into a sea of shimmering heat. "Stay alert," Ammon warned, scanning the horizon. "We may encounter the serpents of the sands, or worse." Rumbling growls echoed from beneath the dunes, like the distant roar of thunder. Suddenly, from the sands erupted a massive creature, a colossal sand behemoth, its body a swirling mass of golden particles. The beast charged at them, eyes glowing with a feral hunger. "Together!" Kim shouted, drawing a dagger while Zara brandished the amulet, her heart racing with determination. As the behemoth roared, the ground quaked beneath them. Zara held the amulet high, channeling its power. "By the eye of Horus, grant us strength!" A blinding light burst forth, momentarily stunning the creature as it paused, bewildered. Anon seized the opportunity. "Now strike!" With an arrow drawn taut, he fired directly at the beast's eye, the arrow piercing through the swirling sand. The creature howled in pain, thrashing wildly, sending waves of sand cascading through the air. Kem, bolstered by the amulet's magic, leaped onto the creature's back, dodging its flailing limbs. "Hold on, we must find its weakness," he shouted, scrambling toward the beast's head. As Kem struggled to maintain his grip, Rahotep charged forward, using his brute strength to land powerful blows against the beast's sides. "I'll keep it distracted. Strike the heart," he roared, his fist pounding against the creature's tough hide. With every blow, the behemoth's strength waned, but it retaliated with crushing force. It swung its massive tail, aiming for Rahotep, who barely dodged, rolling to avoid being crushed. "Your strength is nothing against the fury of the sands that bellowed." But Kem, finally reaching the vulnerable area beneath its eye, plunged the dagger deep into the creature's flesh. A roar of agony erupted, shaking the ground as Kem held on for dear life. "Do it now, Zara!" Ammon shouted, drawing another arrow, ready to assist. With a fierce determination, Zara unleashed the amulet's energy, channeling a blinding light that enveloped the beast. The light surged, radiating outward, momentarily stunning the behemoth. "By the gods, fall!" she cried, pouring her essence into the amulet. The beast writhed violently, its massive form twisting in agony as the light consumed it. And then, with a final howl, it disintegrated into a whirlwind of sand, scattering across the desert. Panting heavily, the thieves gathered, astonished by their victory. "We did it!" Kem exclaimed, breathing heavily. "We faced the beast and emerged victorious." But their celebration was short-lived. From the depths of the desert, the ground trembled once more, and a second creature emerged, this time a terrifying sand serpent, its scales glistening with gold, moving like liquid through the dunes. "We must move," Ayman urged, but the serpent struck with lightning speed, cutting around Kem and lifting him off the ground. "Kem!" Dara screamed, reaching for him, but the serpent tightened its grip. Summoning all her courage, Zara lifted the amulet high. "Release him," she commanded, the energy of the artifact flaring in response. The serpent hesitated, momentarily confused by the surge of power. "Now, Kem!" Bahadup bellowed, charging forward and striking the serpent's tail with all his might. "Don't give up, we are with you." Fueled by desperation, Kem focused all his energy into breaking free. "You will not take me," he roared, summoning the strength of the amulet. He twisted and turned, feeling the grip loosen ever so slightly. "Zara, channel the amulet's power," Ayman shouted. "Now!" With a fierce cry, Zara released a wave of energy that spiraled around the serpent, wrapping it in a cocoon of light. The serpent thrashed, but the energy held firm, constricting its movements. "Let go of Kem," she screamed, her heart racing. Kem seized the moment, drawing his dagger once more, and plunged it deep into the serpent's scales. The creature howled in pain, its grip loosening as it writhed in agony. With a final burst of strength, Kem broke free, landing on the ground as the serpent collapsed in a swirling mass of sand, just like its predecessor. Breathless and battered, the thieves stood victorious once more. "We did it!" Tim exclaimed, exhilaration coursing through him. "We faced 2 beasts and survived." But the desert had more trials in store. As they caught their breath, a shadow loomed over them, and from the sands emerged an ancient warrior, clad in armor that gleamed with the essence of the sun. His eyes blazed with the fury of the gods. "You have proven your strength, mortals, but do you possess the heart to wield it?" he asked, his voice echoing like thunder. "We have come seeking redemption," Kem replied, stepping forward. "We wish to reclaim our honor and protect those we love." The ancient warrior studied them intently. "You have faced the beasts of the sands, but true trials lie ahead. You must face the trial of hearts where loyalty will be tested and the strongest bonds will determine your fate. Whatever it takes, we will endure," Zara declared, determination etched on her face. "Then prepare yourselves," the warrior warned, "for the desert holds both light and darkness. Only those with pure hearts may pass." With that, the ground trembled once more, and the sky darkened above them. Winds howled as images began to swell into view, visions of their past and the choices they had made. The shadows of their failures loomed large, each one whispering doubts and fears that had once threatened to consume them. Ken stumbled as a vision of his betrayal materialized, the faces of his comrades twisted in sorrow.